Hi, welcome to Precious Bundles HQ. I'm Julia.
And I'm Lindsay.
And together we run the Precious Bundles Outreach Project.
A few years ago, when we both had toddlers, we were sitting in church and we thought, wouldn't it be good if we had a way to get all of the baby clothes that our children have very quickly outgrown onto people who really need them, who don't really know where their next outfit for their child is coming from or are really struggling. And we both agreed this would be a great idea, but didn't do anything about it at the time. Fast forward a few years and we had a bit more time. God still had it on our hearts, so we investigated it in earnest, and we've now set up Precious Bundles.
When we went round some of the other projects, the most invaluable bit of advice I was actually given was to get a box and start. So we did. And now we have all the boxes, racking and bags of clothes, Moses baskets, baby baths, nappies, blankets you can see around us. We cater for children aged 0 to 5, and we make up Moses basket sets too to contain everything that a child might need in their first few weeks of life. All of this has been donated by people of Colchester. We have 4 donation points around the town, including one at Kingsland.
People have been really generous with their donations, so that's enabled us during lockdown to deliver 237 bundles of clothes to families, some of which were known to us previously from our drop-ins and some of which had come into contact with us through our Facebook page. We also accept referrals from health visitors, social workers, who often approach us for their clients who really have very little, but we are open to anybody in need of a little extra help. We are now reopened back to drop-ins again, where we take all of these bags of clothes, as well as many of the other items over here with blankets, towels, coats and other extras, and they're all available completely free for anybody to come and choose what they need. So as we come out of lockdown, we're anticipating that our demand is going to increase with financial pressures. A lot of families were really struggling even beforehand, so now that will be even worse.
We've received a lot of really good feedback from people who have told us that they actually really valued what we did during lockdown, and they don't know what they would have done had we not provided those items for them. And while we love our local Kingsland community, we do realise that quite a few people have to travel now to see us. So we are absolutely thrilled to be given the opportunity to join in with the food bank cafes. It's proposed at the moment that we are going to attend food bank cafes in Shrub End, Newtown and Monkwick once a month to take what we do into local areas of Colchester and make us more accessible to the people using the service. The while Precious Bundles HQ looks full, as demand increases, we're going to need increased donations to meet that need. We have a wonderful team of volunteers who help us, but we always have more to do than we have hands to help. So we need help checking, sorting, washing donations. We also need people to come along to drop-ins and practically serve. But also we need people to chat and just be a listening ear, get alongside people and pray for them. So if any of this appeals, we'd love to hear from you. So just get in touch with Sarah at the church and she will put you in touch with us.
Hi, I've been asked to talk to you a little bit about the soup run that Kingsland Church are involved with in town. What a fantastic ministry to be involved in. We have a group of people in town, not necessarily homeless, but street people. They need feeding. Currently, with the corona situation, we're not actually out there participating on the evenings that we normally do. They are currently being fed from a serving hatch at Beacon House. But in normal times, when we're there, when we're serving, it's one of the best ministries you could possibly get involved with. We set up and we're there for an hour serving. All sorts of colourful characters come and enjoy our fair. Now, as far as Soup Run goes, I currently sort of head it up, but I'm only a custodian. It's all the people in the background, the sandwich makers, the food providers, the people that make these things tick, that are the real superstars. I'm just a front man. So anyone in the church that fancies stepping out, not necessarily doing a soup run, but there's all sorts of outreach going on. Parable of the talents, a lot of the new stuff refers to it as gold or silver or money, but talents. God has given you talents. God has given you an ability to get out there and actually do something and invest into some sort of mission work. For me, I've been doing the soup run, I think now for about 5 years, and I like to think we've made a little bit of a difference. We now have a barbecue, so we take that down there and we flip some burgers, and they get the option to have a cheeseburger. We've got a massive gas burner, which is actually quite frightening. It's like a little rocket going up. And we've got a massive big pan that we can heat up some hot dogs. And the guys and girls that come down absolutely love it, because it shows that we can step up and we can do a little bit more. Pancakes, that's another thing we've done. We've had a pancake night, that was quite hilarious. I've never flipped so many pancakes or had to mix up so much goop. Within the Bible, we're also told that whatever you do, Colossians 3:23, I think it is, I had a little chat with Sarah earlier, I didn't know off the top of my head. Whatever you do, do it well. Do it with all your heart. Do it for Christ and not for man. So when you're out, when you're serving, again, whatever your particular thing is, do it for the Lord. It's not about us. It's, you know, it's for Jesus that we go out there and do stuff. So the people we serve, for a lot of people, they are the least. And for us, they're the most. It's absolutely beautiful to go down there, get their confidence, have conversations. They will share stuff with you that, you know, you don't pass on, and you wouldn't they wouldn't necessarily share with anyone else. It's a beautiful thing.
Good morning, my name is Alison, and Neil has asked me to talk about street pastors for a few minutes. For those of you that don't know anything about street pastors, it's an organisation that was started some years ago in Jamaica by a couple of Christian pastors who were concerned about the level of gang violence on the streets of Kingston. Les Isaacs in London was quite intrigued by the idea and went over to see what was going on and brought it back to London. Since then, it has spread across Britain, North America, South America, and other places. It's a great organisation in that it is a group of Christians from all different churches that come together to be the presence of Jesus on the streets. We're there to look like love, as Karen would say. So there's about 15 of us in Colchester at the moment, and we go out in teams of 3. We aim to go out every Friday and Saturday night, but it's not always possible depending on what other commitments people have. It would be great if we could, but we just have to do the best that we can. But it would be lovely to have more people joining us. Now, pre-COVID, our role was quite different from what it is now. We would meet up at about 10:30, pray at a church in town, and then go out on the streets until about 3:30 in the morning. And our role was broadly to work alongside the other organisations that operate in Colchester. So that would include, say, the SOS bus, which you may know about, that offers medical care, the door staff in all the different bars and pubs and clubs, the police, the military police, and CCTV, who monitor the cameras all the time. And between all of us, we've got radios to talk to each other, and we can just try and offer support and help where it's needed. And that's a great thing, to be Christians and recognised for our kind of loving presence without being there to start kind of Bible bashing. So it's very low-key evangelism. Having said that, since COVID as well, it's changed a bit, obviously, because we're now going out from about 7 till 11 in the evening. So we're getting to know business owners, and it's been good to be able to pray with them if they're a new business in Colchester, to talk to some of their staff. So we heard the tale the other day of a young lass who'd lost quite a few of her teenage years due to having chronic fatigue, and she's now working. So we prayed with her for a realisation of her dreams and all of the time that she's lost. In fact, she knows Neil and her family, and we encouraged her to come along and visit the church at some point. We also talked with the door staff, and there was a lovely witness the other day from a lady that we prayed for probably a year or so ago, and she was telling her colleague how we prayed for her back and it had been healed. So if you want to try out a bit of evangelism, it's very easy, because with this, the name is helpful, because people say, what's a pastor? And like Karen's rule of, if you're within 1 metre of me, then I'm going to talk to you about Jesus. So if people ask, what's a pastor? For us, that's an invitation to say, well, we're here because we believe God loves us, and we want to share that love with you. And, Jesus is our shepherd. So, yeah, I kind of think I've run out of time. So it would be lovely if more people would like to join us. It's great to spend time with other Christians. It's, as I say, great opportunities for evangelism. Good exercise, of course, because we're walking around Colchester for a couple of hours. And it's actually, it's good fun. It's good sort of social experience. So if you're interested, please do contact me or Phil through Sarah. Sarah coordinates our timetable of who's going out when. So, yeah, thank you for listening, and God bless you. Bye.
Thank you so much, guys, for those really informative short videos. It's so great to hear about some of the things that happen by Kingsland people in the town. You know, they're not Kingsland ministries, but we love that they are a part of what happens here. So if you're interested in working with the young people, if you're interested in helping, give parcels out to young mums or people who don't have exactly what they need, please contact Lindsay and Julia. Please make an effort and do that. Even if you're still in lockdown or you're shielding, you can still participate in these things. Same with the soup run. Phil mentioned there that there are people who make sandwiches and make soup and things like that. That's so important. So even if you can't commit to being there in person, you can still participate and do your part and make ministry happen. And the same with Street Pass as well. I'm sure Ali would love to have a few more people wandering around the streets with her and everyone else there. We're going to hear now from 3 other ministries in the church that are just fantastic, and I hope this is really interesting for you guys, and I hope it's stirring your spirit a little bit and helping you to work out, if there's a place for you in one of these ministries. We'll see you soon.
Hi, I'm Mi Fong. I've been asked to record something about CAP, Christians Against Poverty, which is one of the charities that Kingsland support. And CAP is very grateful for people who have come aboard with us to volunteer and to pray with us, and that is actually what we need. So what is CAP? CAP is Christians Against Poverty. We help people who are in who has unmanageable debts. So I, as a debt coach, will go and visit them. Apart from helping them with that, this is a chance for me as a debt coach and our volunteers as well to show people the love of Jesus, really. That is one of the primary reasons that CAP exists, as a way to help the poor. So our tagline is to serve the poor, save the lost, with the church across the nation. So this is what we do. So we go and see them, and recently I referred a client to Alpha, and there is a salvation story there. So that makes my work really worthwhile. So apart from debt coaching, we have something called Life Skill, which is run out of Lexton Church, St. Leonard's Church in Lexton. So it's run by Sean. this is an 8-week course that help people live on very low income, and there is a course starting soon, which everyone is welcome to join. Apart from that, we have a CAP money coach dotted around the churches in Colchester will help people to learn how to budget better. So the good news is that we also have Fresh Start, which is to help people with unmanageable habits. So a coach is being trained right now, actually, to help people with that. So it's I think it's a 10-week course, and hopefully we will help people in that area as well. So CAP works because the church comes together and Christians come together to show the love of Jesus. And we would very much love people to join us in this. CAP is a evangelistic movement as well as a debt counseling service. So if you think that you have some time that you can spare, just helping with visits, although we are not doing any home visits, most of our visits are on the telephone or online, a video call, because we are not allowed to go into clients' home. During COVID, it went really quiet when head office was trying to figure out a way to deliver this service. Unfortunately, this service is so needed right now because people have lost jobs. So a lot of my recent clients are people who have been working and just taking along, but now they find that they can't pay their bills. So this is where CAP comes in, and hopefully, if you want to join in this, just let me know, and I'm sure there is a place for you. And another thing is pray, because we bring the gospel to people's home. I always say I have 3 chances to talk to people about God, because that's the 3 official visits, and then basically it's left to befriend us, to show our clients the love of Jesus. And I think, as the church, we are a movement. We are the hands and feet of Jesus. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, I've been asked to give an update about the Christian Advice Service Ministry. TCAS was established because we had seen in the Bible Jesus' call to what these days is known as social action. Jesus had a conversation with someone that Luke calls an expert in the law. He seemed to want to justify himself, so he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbour?" In reply, Jesus told him about a man who was attacked by robbers. A Samaritan, someone who was despised by the Jews, saw his need and helped him. We also noticed what Jesus said in the parable of the sower. The devil comes and takes away the word out of their hearts, lest they should believe and be saved. The ones on the rock have no root. In times of temptation, they fall away. Others, when they have heard, are choked with cares. In Judges 9:45, we're also told that Abimelech scattered salt over the land to destroy the crops and prevent any further growth. So TCAS came into being to help our neighbour and to stand against the enemy's attempt to prevent individuals coming to know Father God. We do this by giving advice to people in crisis situations and by sharing our faith. So how have we become effective? Well, through a background in citizens' advice and by creating a set of apps that our advisors use to give the best possible advice to clients. In addition, volunteers in a role we want to call faith mentors support and help the individual and share God's love with them. So where is TCAS currently? Well, we've become a registered charity, we have a website, we have an email address, and we have a contact telephone number. We have established a TCAS in Colchester and in Ipswich, and we have a small number of volunteers. We have good links with charities and GP surgeries in the local areas, and we're funded by participating churches. We have supported well over 120 clients in the last 18 months who we have helped in different ways. We have prayed with clients and seen answers to those prayers. We have seen the enemy confronted and bound, and we have seen individuals healed. So what is the future for TCAS? We're hoping to see the TCAS ministry grow through sessions in individual churches and new TCAS centres in other towns and cities, supported by the local churches. We hope to make agencies more aware of what TCAS does and to recruit more volunteers who could be anywhere in the country working from home using the online apps, the telephone and Zoom. We're also keen to develop our Faith Mentor programme. Peter says in 1 Peter 4:10, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. The TCAS ministry is open to anyone who wants to help the neighbour who needs advice in crisis situations and those who have a heart for sharing the gospel, pastoring individuals and seeing the Holy Spirit transforming their lives. If this ministry inspires you to action, then contact us by email or through our contact page on our website. Talk to us and see how you can serve. Bless you.
Good morning, Church. My name is Frances and I'm privileged to be the Chair of Trustees for Beacon House. For those of you that are not aware, Beacon House is a day facility for people that are homeless. On a normal basis, we offer advice, we offer food, we offer clothing, we offer a full service including medical service to people without a home. The other aspect of Beacon House is that we support people that are living in supported accommodation, move-on accommodation, to try and enable them to live as normal a life as they would want to. Obviously, in these current times, things have been a bit different. In January this year, we appointed a new Chief Executive, Steve Brown, who within 2 months of his appointment was landed with the current situation of COVID. And I have to say at this point that he has been superb in the way that he's handled the whole situation. We had to furlough some staff and all volunteers were unable to come into the facility. So for the last 6 months, we've been offering food from the window, we've been offering advice from the window. For people that have medical emergencies, we have been allowing them in. So the team has still been working supporting people in the housing, but obviously it's been a very different situation. As far as the homeless were concerned, during lockdown, they were accommodated in bed and breakfast facilities throughout the town, and particularly because the night shelter has not been able to function and will not be functioning until well into next year. So I would like at this point to give the staff a big thanks, because they've been working to try and maintain people, try and keep people off the streets and provide all the services that they've been providing prior to that. As we are moving into the winter, unfortunately, the night shelter again is not going to be functioning this year, but recent conversations with Colchester Borough Homes seems that there will be the opportunity to house people within bed and breakfast facilities in the coming weeks. We are hoping that as from Monday, we will be able to allow small groups of 6 people in at a time in order to provide them with a cooked meal. So they will come in at 6 at a time, we will then sanitise the whole building, and then another 6 people will be able to come in. Obviously, we're very much well aware that the number of people that are homeless are going to rise quite significantly, possibly over the next few months. And so therefore we are always in need of donations of food, of clothing for our client group. The one piece of good news during this time is that Bishop Roger of Colchester has agreed to be our patron, which means that we will have a very robust spiritual leader in Beacon House. So we're very much looking forward to his influence and actually increasing the number of spiritual activities that we do, particularly maybe hopefully running an Alpha course. So I would like to ask you all for your prayers for Beacon House, for the service users that come in, but also for the staff, because it has been a very difficult period for them and it is likely to remain so for the foreseeable future. Thank you for listening to me.
Awesome, thank you to those guys for putting those videos together, and I hope that's inspiring for you. TCAS, Beacon House, CAP, all fantastic opportunities to be a part of. We've actually got one more now. Mark is going to talk about Corbin live, so we're going to head over to Shekinah now and we'll hear from him.
Hello. Great, brilliant. Okay, it's great to be with you all this morning. It's actually my first time back in the main church meeting, so yeah, really, really good to be with you all. While you're listening this morning, I'd really like you to remember and have in mind that God knows what it's like to be homeless. I always think it's really important that Jesus actually experienced homelessness himself, didn't he? Jesus was a homeless refugee for the first couple of years of his life. And I was about to wander then, but I probably need to stay quite still, don't I? Yeah. I love to wander, so if I look a bit uncomfortable at any point, that's probably why. But yes, I really want you to have that in mind, that Jesus knows what it's like to be homeless. God knows what it's like to be homeless. And God loves homeless people. And he wants us as church to show them that love in spiritual and practical ways. And that's why we have the foundation of Corbin as our foundational scripture is from James 2. Now, I've been part of Kingsland for around 5 years now. We moved to Colchester 5 years ago, and I've been leading Corbin for about 3 years now. So it's really good to be part of the community here, and it's great to have the opportunity to make a difference in our town. I really valued Neil's prayers for our town. It's great to be part of such an amazing group of people and hearing all those other amazing charities too. But I'm obviously most passionate about Corbin, and so I really want to get that across to you this morning. The word Corbin means given over to God. It's an Aramaic Hebrew word. It's also, I think, an Arabic word that means given over to God like a sacrifice. We're a Christian charity providing homes for vulnerable young homeless people aged 16 to 25. Now, I'd like you to just imagine, just for a moment with me, remember what it was like being young, sort of being a teenager, maybe up into your early 20s. Now, I normally take a bit of feedback, but we've all got masks on, so it's a little bit difficult, isn't it? But I imagine for some of you that was probably a great time, but for others of you, it was a time of profound transition, change, upheaval, challenge. Some people find it's quite a scary time. It can be quite an uncertain time. You're trying to figure out who you are. And hopefully there's good times in there as well. But imagine what it's like going through that experience and being homeless. I'm just going to give you a little quote here from a guy called Ed Loring. He says, to lack a primal place is to be homeless indeed. Not only in the literal sense of having no permanently sheltering structure, but also as being without any effective means of orientation in a complex and confusing world. So we've got being young and being homeless. It's like doubly difficult, isn't it? And I'm not going to give you too many stats, but it's no wonder really that so many homeless people experience mental health issues. I could say a lot about that, but I'm just going to, like I say, I'm just not going to give you too many stats, but I'll just give you a couple of stats now. Sorry, that was Edward Casey, wasn't it, that quote? The second thing was from Ed Loring. So it's estimated that around 3,000 homeless people in Essex alone in the UK. I read that before lockdown, going into lockdown, around 75,000 households were considered homeless or at risk of homeless in the UK. It's huge, isn't it? Huge amount of people. So they're not all homeless, but homeless or at risk of being homeless. You can see some other statistics there on the screen. Like I say, I'm not going to go through them all. But family breakdown has a huge impact. That's one of the main triggers for youth homelessness. So these young people are going through a lot, aren't they? They're going through, like I said, the time of being young, going through that transition. They're experiencing homelessness. Many of them have experienced family breakdown. They're often experiencing mental health issues. And, that's not even all of it. So there's another stat there that 2/3 of the 16 to 17-year-olds accepted as homeless in one study had seen their parents separate or divorce. Other common causes being leaving care and unable to pay rent. So what are we going to do about that? That's all pretty bleak, isn't it? It's not good news, that, at all. But actually, there is good news. We've heard about some of these great charities already. Corbyn, our vision is breaking the cycle of homelessness in Colchester by giving young people a home and supporting them to move on independently. That's what Corbyn is all about. Around 300 young people each year present for help from supported housing. So that's not all of those who present for help with the council or anything, but just for those who want supported housing, who want that extra bit of support and a place to live. Around 300 young people every year in Colchester. And so we are, we are all about giving those young people home and support to help them move on into independent living and get the support they need to develop the character and skills to live independently. How do we do that? Well, we aim to provide quality, safe, stable, supportive accommodation which feels like a home. That's one of the things we do. We give young people a healing experience of family, sharing meals and eating together being an important part of this. It's really important for us at Corbyn. We work in partnership with the local church, other professionals and service providers. We empower young people to grow and mature through investing and believing in them as individuals. We provide and facilitate holistic support. We look at people's psychological and spiritual needs and give professional and genuinely caring support. Lost something there. Apologies, the slides got out of sync somehow. Okay. So rather than labour the point and go through each one of those one by one, I just thought it would be great to show you some pictures, really. And just give you a summary of some of the successes that we've seen over the last few years. So over the last 12 years, we've helped around 130 young homeless people. So that's a great record for a small and growing charity. And from September 2016, 88% of our residents have been supported to move on positively from Corbyn. So how that's worked out, well, one of them has returned to their family, so that's great. You know, that's really good when that happens. 2 have moved in with partners. 4 went into private rented accommodation, 4 went into council properties, and actually 4 of our residents went to university. And that is an incredible achievement for young people in supported housing. It's an incredible achievement. 4 of them went to university. And like I say, rather than just spend ages talking about it, here's some pictures. This is one of our lads over the summer, helping to dig a patio at Corban, and working with one of our volunteers, Andy Courtier, who's part of this church. And you can see the patio's looking brilliant now. We've got we do a beach day. We've got some young. We do bowling. We've got a picture of one of the young lads bowling there. We've done archery as part of a weekend away that we did. And you can see that we enjoy our food. Food's really important to us at Corban. There's a picture of our barbecue. We've got celebrating someone's birthday. And that guy, when we celebrated his birthday, he said to me, do you know, I don't think I've eaten as nice food maybe in 20 years. He's in his early 20s, this guy. He said, I don't remember celebrating my birthday in this way for years. And he just said it's like the nicest food I've had. And I've never really celebrated my birthday like this. Which on the one hand, when I got home, I remember telling Joe, and I didn't obviously give any names or details really, but I just said on the one hand, that's brilliant, isn't it? But on the other hand, that's really sad, isn't it? That no one has ever really celebrated his birthday with him. And we were able to show him the love of Jesus by doing that with him and for him. I'm going to just read a letter now, a quick letter from a resident, and then invite you for how you can get involved. Thank you so much for these past 7 to 8 months. It's been such a whirlwind of emotion, including nervousness, inadequacy, isolation and depression, but also acceptance, loyalty, hope, and most importantly, love. Thank you for putting my feelings and well-being first, even when I didn't want to. Yourself and the other support workers are the nicest people I've ever met and come to know. And for that, I am ever so grateful. You've helped me come out of my shell bit by bit and helped me take steps out of my comfort zone, even when I wanted to hide from the world. Thank you so much. I will never be able to put into words how appreciative I am that you've helped me come so far. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we're part of that story. Kingsland is part of that story. Many churches in Colchester are part of that story. So I want to thank you for your investment. Thanks for believing in Corban, for supporting us, for all the volunteers who've got involved, and financial support as well. And I also want to invite you to, if you're not involved, to get involved, to support us more. We're so grateful, but actually the impact of COVID-19 on homelessness is huge, and especially on young people, especially on their employment, especially on their homelessness. It's huge. It's had almost an exponentially bigger effect on young homeless people than on perhaps any other, we might argue, any other sector. And one of the ways we want to do something about that is to do something called Night Stop. So Corban actually started in 2006, before it became a full charity, as a Night Stop project. Night Stop uses host families to intervene at young person's point of homelessness. So people can provide a bed for a night in like a spare room or something in their house. And you might think, oh, that sounds really risky in COVID, but actually a lot of projects have been able to keep going across the UK, COVID safe, and working with young people. And we believe that's one of the best ways that we as church can respond to a young person being homeless, to actually give them a space in our own home. So I've got a link for you. So what I'd like you to do is get out your phones now. All of you, please. And those of you listening at home, please get out your phones and type that link in. Now, obviously, if you don't want to register, that's absolutely fine. You know, I'm not forcing you to do anything, but I know that some of you might think this is a great idea. You go home. By the time you've got home, you might have forgotten about it. So if you get out your phone and type in that link, www.corban.org.uk/register. And the link should come up, and you should be able to just put in your details and then a reason that you want to get involved. So if you see that and think, right, I really want to get involved in that Night Stop project, sounds brilliant. We probably won't be doing that until potentially March because we've applied for a load of funding for that. But we're going forward in faith, believing that God is going to provide that money and going to make it possible for us to do that project. So if you think that's for me, I really love to open up my home and have a young person come and stay with me, maybe a few nights for a week or something like that. It's all really well risk managed. We're not going to put you with anybody who's going to steal your stuff or, smash your front door down or anything like that. It's a great way you can get involved. And if actually you think, do you know what, that's not for me, but I want to give some money or I want to get involved in some other way, just put something on that form to let us know how you want to get involved. It's the quickest, simplest way to get involved with Corban. If you think, I need to know a little bit more first, I've not heard that much this morning, then you can just look at our website, www.corban.org.uk. Thanks for listening. Great to be with you this morning, and I'll look forward to hopefully speaking to some of you later when I've got my mask on.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. Joey, we've got time for one more. Can we just end with a bit of worship together?